Welcome to Chilling in the Lounge. And today we'll be going over this awesome speech by Michelle Obama for the Obama presidential opening ceremony. And it's we got to be careful because this is such a there's a lot of hate going on in this country right now, and even there's a lot of black people also hating on black people like the Obamas as well. And the Obamas have always been hated, and basically they're saying, well, this is where everything started with Donald Trump when Obama came into office, and this is what got MAGA started. But I'll explain why I'm saying what I'm saying right now. But let's go ahead and get into the video and without holding you up. All right, let's get to it.
Wow. Hello, everyone, and what a beautiful day, right? Nothing like a project by my husband to bring out the sun. Let me start by thanking Addison for that magnificent introduction and for exemplifying the heart, excellence, and determination that has blossomed right here on the South Side for a very long time. I also want to send some love to everyone who made this day a reality. The construction workers, landscapers, designers, the architects, artists, chefs, our staff, our board members, our donors. Barack and I simply cannot thank you enough for the care and brilliance you poured into every square inch of this campus. I also want to recognize all of the elected officials and distinguished leaders from around the city, the state, the country, and yes, the world.
And this is what I was trying to say. Uh, I was trying to get into this Obama Presidential Center, and then I started to see things where there's a few people on the platforms that are saying some really negative things about the president. Um, I don't believe it's true, but if you can prove it, go ahead and prove it. So some of the things that they were saying is that some of the contractors was not paid. Now, this sounds like a Donald Trump type of thing, not a Obama type of thing. So I feel like they're trying to pour some of that negative because there's so much positive with Obama and his family and the presidency and everything that's happened that they want to pour a little negative because Donald Trump is getting too much. They want to share some of the negativity. But they also said that the land that the presidential center was built on was land that was taken from people and in a negative way, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know how true this was. I don't know any information on it. So I'm just letting you know some of the negative things that has been said. And just beware if you see something, try to find out if it's true, because I don't think it is. And people like to say things without evidence, and a lot of people like to buy into it because it falls into the narrative they're trying to push. But I don't want to take away from this beautiful occasion, so let's go ahead and continue with the video. All right.
Thank you for being here to celebrate with us, especially to all of my fellow formers, to Joe and Jill, George and Laura, Bill and Hillary. thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service to our country over so many years.
Hey, do you ever see George and Laura? Let's just leave it at George and Laura. They're Republicans, but you never see them at uh, Donald Trump's anything, and they're Republicans. Isn't that weird? Sort of, maybe. Yeah. But I love to see that they support Obama, and that's awesome. You see Joe Biden, you see Bill Clinton and Hillary, and that's beautiful. That's where you see unity. They don't have to be there. With all the racial stuff that's going on, I'm glad to see that they're supporting and they're standing up. I mean, I didn't expect anything different, anyways. So let's continue.
And for your constant friendship and support of our family. We love you guys, truly. Oh, to our daughters, Malia and Sasha, who will always be my babies. Even though we're no longer playing hide and seek on the South Lawn with Bo, or hosting sleepovers in the solarium. I see a lot of some sleepover girls here. You both have grown into such brilliant and beautiful young women, making your way out there in the world. Thank you for bringing so much joy and spirit and energy to a life you had no voice in choosing, and for making us proud every step of the way. Love you, babe. Oh, so please indulge me for a moment, because I'm going to take a little time to do something that I know my husband will not do today, and that is to fully sing his praises.
The truth is, he don't have to sing his praises because he's not Donald Trump. He does things the right way. He don't steal. He don't try to rip off the American people. You know, as far as I know. I'm gonna just say that so I can be fair, okay? Because a lot of people like to look and talk a lot of negative. I have no problem if you disagree with me. I have no problem if you disagree. Actually, I do have a problem if you disagree with Obama because there's only one thing that I have an issue with, and I may not understand everything about his presidency. It's the Gaddafi situation, and that's for another time. But if you disagree with anything else about Obama, you have a serious problem. He probably wasn't perfect as a president, and he probably didn't get to do a whole lot, but he did a lot, and he did the best that he could. So let's continue.
Barack, you gotta look at me. You told me all those years ago that you couldn't promise me the world, but you could promise me an interesting life. And of course, you outdid yourself and managed to give me both. I know it hasn't always been easy, but there hasn't been a single second through this experience that standing by your side hasn't left me in awe. 8 years in the crucible, and not once did you melt from the heat. Not once did you let it harden you. Instead, you used it to reveal your truest essence, your stubborn optimism and unflinching courage, your dazzling brilliance and unpretentious decency, your ferocious work ethic, and absolutely unshakable moral fiber. And to do it all as a first and the higher standard that comes with all that. The claims that a U.S. senator and constitutional law expert wasn't qualified for the job. The lies about your birthright, your faith, your patriotism. The outrage when you stated the biological fact that if you had a son, that he too would be black. Yet, you were unflappable at every turn, always focused, always calm, always looking at the long view. How absurd it is to even imagine that you might have buckled under the pressure even once, lashed out in frustration, lost your temper. How absurd it is to imagine that you might have done anything but make our family and this entire country proud. No, you were too busy.
Look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. That might look like 422,000 people. But who's counting?
I'm not done, y'all. Not done. So much to say. You were doing the people's work, rescuing our economy, expanding healthcare, ending a war, ordering the Bin Laden raid, saving an auto industry, winning a peace prize.
She had to throw that one
in there. Keeping us safe from Ebola, regulating the banks, standing up for marriage equality, listening to science, and comforting an entire nation in the face of unspeakable tragedies. And you did it all with such grace and class and cool that you made the hardest job in the world look like a walk in this beautiful park. Your mother, Toot.
She's not lying. Like, the way Obama moved in his presidency, everything that she says is pure facts. You know, he was being watched and observed, and they were looking for anything to just throw fire on his name, fire on his image. And he didn't give it to him. He didn't give it to him. You know what pissed him off? Because he wore a tan suit. A tan suit? That's what pissed you guys off? This president now is having his sons and son-in-law making all kinds of money, all kinds of deals, from international waters, which is crazy. Because if you have ever been part of the federal government, you cannot have those type of affiliation. You apply for a government job, they want to know everybody overseas that you've been in contact with. You got to put all that stuff down, but since they're going to say they're not in the government, they're not, they don't have to answer to no one, but they're going to look at Hunter Biden and cry about all of that. But let's continue. Don't want to interrupt the speech. This is the second time I'm going through this because my volume was messed up last time. So we're going to go ahead and continue.
Yes, you are a tribute to their love. They are up there grinning and hugging today because you never forgot who you are and where you came from. Single mother, working hard to get by and get an education and show her son the world. Grandparents who didn't have much, but they had the perfect recipe to nurture your flame. You never forgot the folks in the union halls and church basements here in Chicago, where you first put your ideals to this test. You never forgot all the voters you registered and students you taught and neighbors you organized. You never fell for the temptation of a quick fix or an easy payday. You never changed from that idealistic summer associate who showed up on that rainy day when we first met without an umbrella. You always gave us the very best within you. And in doing so, you reminded the rest of us that we could too. Barack, there are no words to express how proud I am of the way you showed up and continue to show up every single day. It has been an honor to be by your side. You have made me a better person and have given us all an example that we should.
You see how he tapped his leg there and looked to the side? Man, you know he want to cry, but he don't want to let it out in front of all them people. He don't want us to see him shed a tear.
Strive to emulate. And I hope you know, there is truly no higher calling than that. All right. To all of you joining us today, our invited guests, and everyone listening and watching from afar, the Obama Presidential Center was created as a beacon of hope, a monument to our unshakable values, the ones my husband has exemplified his entire life: equality, empathy, honesty, inclusion, fairness. And especially during these anxious and divisive times, it is so important that we remember that those values are not unique to my husband. They are the same ones that your husbands and wives, your parents and children, your friends and neighbors exhibit and pass on. Every single day, millions of people in this country wake up doing their very best to live decent and purposeful lives. Yeah, we're all tested in one way or another. And there are plenty of times we all fall short. But deep down in our hearts and souls, we all know right from wrong. We know selflessness from greed, righteousness from injustice. We understand that we all rise and fall together, that every last one of us is an invaluable contributor to the greatness of America. And I'm talking about...
You know, she said we all know right from wrong. And I believe that. But sometimes when you listen to some of these people who hate Democrats, who hate Obama, and then they call themselves conservatives or Christians. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's simple, right from wrong, good and bad. You know when you're doing something wrong. We all adults, we have sense, and but some of these people, they pretend not to understand, or they don't try to give themselves a chance to believe the truth. You know, they divert, they try to avoid it, they run from it. And that's the problem with a lot of the people that have issue with people like Obama. You know, I'm not gonna say he's perfect. I'm not acting like he's perfect, but he's portrayed himself to be almost perfect for sure. I don't live with him. I can't tell you his faults or anything like that. But I'm sure he's not perfect. He make mistakes, and I'm sure he would admit to his mistakes when he's done them. So let's continue.
The workers living paycheck to paycheck, hoping to give their kids a better future. The teachers using their own money to take their students on field trips. The business owners struggling to meet payroll but refusing to close their doors. All those folks sweating over stoves to provide meals for their communities. Folks shivering in the freezing cold to deliver our packages. Picking up trash to keep our parks clean. Volunteers dedicating their weekends to coaching t-ball or directing the church choir or mentoring a child. That's where the truth of this country lies. Not in grabbing as much as we can get for ourselves or not.
And that's the difference between Obama and Donald Trump. Obama speaks about the real issues, and if he promised you that he's gonna work on it, that's what he did. With healthcare, they said it was hard, it was difficult, it was impossible, and what he did, he fought tooth and nail to get Obamacare in, and it's crazy because that was what was needed for this country to make it as affordable for everybody to be able to have insurance. And look what they did. They felt like everybody don't deserve health insurance. So they destroyed it. They ripped it apart. Everything that he created or built, they tried to destroy his legacy. And it's crazy to watch the GOP fight against healthcare for everybody, even though it wasn't free, just because they had to pay a little bit in, the taxpayers paying a little bit in for their own insurance, just to make sure that everybody would be good. And they couldn't fight for that. That was a problem, you know. And that's why I have a problem with looking at the GOP as good people. So let's continue.
Knocking folks down to prop ourselves up. But in the overwhelming goodness, the relentless striving, the quiet dignity that is inside all of us, our greatest hope is that this center can reflect back just a fraction of that light. That it can capture the beauty of who we all are, no matter what we look like, or where we come from, or how much money we earn, or how we pray, or vote, or speak, or love. It's why during our administration, we threw open the White House doors to all sorts of folks who don't usually get to meet the president or first lady, the families pinching pennies to send their first child to college, the teenagers who know that a hot afternoon means the bullets start flying, the military spouses and children serving and sacrificing just like their loved ones in uniform, the Native kids showing us that resilience and pride can never be stolen, the 4-Hers and FFA members with calluses on their hands from feeding livestock, the immigrants proving what it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us and we are them. And to ignore this simple truth, to refuse to respect the contributions and experiences of people who aren't exactly like us, y'all, puts us all at risk. Failing to see the humanity in all people puts us all on a slippery slope. And once that slide starts, there's no telling where it stops. A dangerous precedent that flies in the very face of our faith and of the founding promise of this democracy, that all of us are created equal, that each of us is a child of God with inerrant value. And no one, and I mean no one, has the right to sit in judgment of who's American enough. And that's why, folks, we simply don't have the luxury or time to be cynical or complacent, to wring our hands in despair, to wait for someone else to fix the problem. Y'all, hope is all we have, because hope is the essential spark that lights the fire of change. But hope is a choice. Whether or not we use our voices to speak up is a choice. Voting is a choice. Being a decent human being is a choice. Believing that we still hold the power to build a country that reflects us all is a choice. The Obama Presidential Center is a living testament to the power of choice, y'all. The historic example that millions of you gave the world about what this imperfect democracy has strived for and achieved, and an urgent call to go out there and do it again. So I hope that when you walk through this campus and bring your children here, you are reminded of the power of choice and the steady work of change. The arduous, unglamorous march up that mountain, one foot after another, day after day, generation after generation. But I also hope you fully absorb the elation of achieving something together. You know, that feeling when you clear the tree line and see a vista that takes your breath away. A feeling that can never be erased. And I know that can be hard to grasp right now, when everything feels so upside down, when fact and fiction run together, when folks seek to stifle speech, limit access to education, devalue diversity, erase the inconvenient parts of our history, when our phones constantly buzz with the latest outrage. So I hope that this place can offer a respite from all that, at least for a little while. I hope it can reignite the optimism and empathy and ambition that has always powered this country's greatest change. So we want you to come here and put away your phones and talk and laugh and cry, because you're gonna cry, and make new friends. Get your hands dirty in my garden. Push your baby on a swing in the playground. Have a romantic picnic on the great lawn.
This is why it's so awesome to listen to either Michelle Obama or President Obama, former President Obama, speak, because they know how to bring your life into what they're depicting or explaining, because they know what it's been like to be there and what you need. And like they said, this building, this presidential center, is a beacon of hope. So every time you step and you see that building, you're going to remember Obama for change, for hope, for trust, for a better future, and everything that's good and positive. So, I mean, when you see them, that's all you see, black excellence.
Because that's the work of democracy, too. Being neighborly, taking care of public spaces, having some fun, enjoying each other, shaking out of the isolation and division that have crept too deeply into our lives. And to my fellow Southsiders, I want you all to make this campus a part of your lives. Be inspired by the world-class art. Check out the books from our beautiful public library and bring them back on time. Drop some beats in the recording studio, hit some corner threes at home court, hold birthday parties, jumpstart clothing drives, host citywide cleanup days here. Use this campus to show off this place we call home. This joyful place where Marion and Fraser Robinson taught their two kids to dream big. This hopeful place where an unknown guy with an unknown name took flight. This stubbornly optimistic place where family after family scrapes and claws and laughs and dances their way to a better tomorrow. That's what this has always been about. Barack and I have always said that this center is grounded in our stories, but it has never been about us. It's never been for us. And it's going to be here long after we're gone. So what it becomes and how it's preserved, that work has to be done by all of us, just like our democracy. And thankfully, you have shown the world what we are capable of. You've proven that a lasting legacy isn't an award or a name on a building or a number of zeros in a bank account, but the difference we make in one.
I just love the shots that she's giving out. Oh my God. All the shots. The Nobel Peace Prize, oh my God. And now I'm even hearing that Trump wants to put the Air Force One plane is in his library. I don't even know if he have a library. Is he talking about the White House? I'm so lost. I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't even care, honestly. But let's continue.
Others' lives. It's about seeing each other and showing up for each other and carrying each other when we're weary or faltering or losing faith. That's how you build something that endures. And that's what you all have done at every twist and turn of this extraordinary journey. You have protected and proclaimed the hope that beats within the heart of this campus. You rekindled and renewed this untamable, unpredictable, and unbreakable democracy. And I know that you all are going to astonish us even more in the months and years ahead, because you all have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that when we truly see each other, when we strive to bring out the best in ourselves and one another, oh, there is no limit to how high we can go. Thank you all. I love you all. God bless you, and God bless this country we love.
That's beautiful. I love it. I'm telling you, this is probably the most powerful black family that we've ever seen, and that's why it's so awesome to listen to them because they can speak. They're educated, they're smart, and they're humble. You know, but every these other people on the other side see something else, and because they've never seen something as beautiful as this, it causes them to hate. You know, but we don't want none of that negativity. So we're gonna keep it all positive And this was a beautiful speech. I've listened to it several times, and I I can keep listening to it because it is definitely uh, a speech of hope. And every time I see them, they inspire me. President Obama inspires me as a black man as well, and I love it. So, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I had to do this video over because I you couldn't hear the vocals, the audio, and I'm talking music, but you couldn't hear the audio, and I didn't like that, and I think that messed me up. So I definitely had to do this video over, and that's why we're here today. And thank you for watching. Until next time, have a good day.